World of Castles is back with some more information, and thus I thought it was time to give you guys an update. Now this is the game that a lot of people were very excited about, and when they saw it they were quite impressed with what I had to say about this game. So in a quick summary, if you want to know more, I have made a video previously, but as a quick summary, this is a game about building your castles in a creative mode and then going in to fight against enemies and other players. You'll have massive large-scale battles with your units and be sieging these castles. There'll be destructible buildings, destructible terrain, and you'll be able to knock down walls to get into the castles and capture and become victorious. But let's get straight into the new information about this game, and I can't wait to tell you guys more about World of Castles. First off, one of the new things we get to see is the ability to spawn in armies. Now of course we did see some of the editor stuff before, but now we can see that you're going to be able to spawn in your own armies, your own troops, and later on in this video I'm going to be getting onto what troops you can spawn in to start with and how you can get better units and things like that later on in the game, because of course the more you progress in this game the stronger you're going to be, much like many other games, but this has a little bit of a twist to it. And I really like the way they are doing it, but I'll get onto that later in the video. These troops and AI will be able to interact with everything. Like I said in the last video, they'll all have their roles, they'll all be able to do differently. If you've got a better castle, your troops are going to fight better, wanting to defend this. And of course, it is going to be your guys going around doing their different jobs. They're going to interact with each other, talk to each other. And of course, if there's a blacksmith, they're going to be doing blacksmith stuff. If they're going to be a farmer, they're going to be doing farmer stuff. If they're going to be a fisherman, they're going to be doing fisherman stuff and things like that. We also see some of the customization and resizing of blocks. There is going to be set blocks that you can use, at least to start with, but I'm also going to be getting onto different blocks as well future in this video. But you'll also be able to resize, recustomize these blocks. Let's say if you want a massive opening gate archway, you're going to be able to resize that to your one, or if you want a little one, that's also going to be a possibility for you. There's also going to be things like block cost and block health. Within this, it's going to be, you're going to be using different amounts of currency for different blocks. So to start with, you're not going to be able to build too much. Yeah, you might be able to build a little humble house, a humble shack that a few guys will be able to defend, but of course that's going to be pretty easy for enemy players to take over and take down. But the more you play, the better you do, the more money you actually get, the better blocks you'll be able to do, and finally you're going to be able to build these massive castles with hundreds of men in it, and it's going to be some insane castles and architecture going on there. There's also health on these blocks, so of course if you have higher quality blocks they're going to have better health, harder to knock down with catapults and trebuchets and artillery pieces like that, and battering rams and things like that. So it's also going to be harder the better blocks you have, and of course you'll have to spend more on them, but it's going to be worth it in the long run. There's also amazing architecture in this. There was a really cool shot of a cathedral, and wow, that looked really good to me. Now, I don't know if that is something that we're going to be able to see a lot, because of course these are going to be expensive, these blocks, but that looks incredible. The amount of work they have put into the architecture in this game is amazing. That is just a small little thing that I thought I might add in, since I really want to see some really cool stuff from you guys as well. I might actually start a really cool series where I go around seeing the creations you guys can do, because of course this is going to be a very customizable game, and a cool series would be seeing my subscribers, what they can build, things like that. If you would love to see that, make sure to hit that subscribe button. But everything in the castle is built from single blocks. There are of course some set pieces in there, but pretty much all the rest of it and building up from the bottom is with single blocks that you're going to be able to put together and build these amazing creations like I mentioned before. The amount of customization in this game is incredible. Everything you see here is built with single blocks that the creators and architectures have been putting together to build these amazing buildings and pieces of work. There's also going to be these working drawbridges in the game. They're going to have opening and closing mechanics, and we do see a little bit of some workings of the cogs here. It looks really cool. I think the AI is probably going to be able to use this as they want. Maybe you're going to have to order which one to close, which one to open, but I think the AI is going to do most of the work here. Wooden walls extensions mean archers can shoot down, increasing your defenses. Of course, I suspect these are going to be a bit more of a later game thing, where you have big castles and you're going to be able to shoot down with your archers and your crossbowmen. Of course, like I said before, the better you do, the more money you get. The more money you get, the more resources you're going to be able to put into your castle. This includes these wooden balconies. That's going to make your castles more defensive. So of course it all adds up in the long run. There's also confirmation of terraforming, so being able to manipulate the landscape is also an option. You're not going to be able to have to just settle with what you've got. If you can terraform in this creative mode, it's going to be an awesome addition. So if you have a massive mountain you want to flatten it out, you can do that. If you want to create a mountain, you can pretty much do that. I don't know how far they're going to go into the terraforming, if it's just tweaks here and there, or it's going to be large scale. It'll be very interesting to see that, of course. Now, talking about game modes, many people were confused in my last video about how these game modes will work. They weren't sure, is this a single player game or is this a completely multiplayer game? But this is what is going to happen, and I'm going to explain it right now. So from what I've been reading up, you build your castles in this creative type mode. The castles cost to build, so obviously the more you play, the better and stronger castles you will get. So there is a sort of creative mode where you build these castles, of course, start with. So that's confirmation of that if people are wondering. But once you're happy with your castle and you want to go to battle with other real-life players, you'll then be matched with a player with the same or approximately same castle skill or castle level. They're called castle fame in this, but I think castle level is a better way of explaining it. So this means that you're not going to be pitched with someone with a little hut, pitched with someone with a massive castle. It's going to be pretty fair battles. So you build your castle, then you go into battle with these castles. You will then be able to siege each other's castles, depending on who's defending and who's attacking, and you fight in a first-person mode as your marshals with the army. You can also fight alongside your friends as well, so if you want to invite your friend to come and destroy a castle with you, bring them over, and it will of course balance it to how good the defender is, to how many guys you get on your side, and all that kind of stuff. But I think this is a really cool and awesome way of making a game. It's very unique. Being able to have a mix between a creative mode and of course this multiplayer sort of, I want to say survival, but it's not really survival mode. So you build your castles in the creative mode, then you go into battle with them. If you win this battle, then you're going to get more resources to upgrade your castle. Now it is confirmed that even in a battle, if you basically lose your castle, if they break down the walls and stuff, it will be repaired afterwards for free. So you don't need to worry about putting all your hard work into it and then it completely goes. It's going to be, it gets repaired, then of course you can put additions on it regarding to how much money and things you get from the battle. There's also confirmation of hundreds of units on the battles at the same time. So large scale will be possible, but of course it is centered around these castles. I don't know if there's going to be many field battles and things like that. It is World of Castles after all, so a lot of the gameplay will be centered around this castle type mechanic, where players must capture each other's castles to win and get costs, rewards and things, and they'll get different cool things, what I'll get onto later. So to win a game, the player must capture the enemy throne or kill all the enemy marshals. I guess this is to do with if you're defending, there's also going to be a certain timer, so if you defend for the timer, you've won this battle, or if you've captured the enemy castle and their throne, of course you've won as an attacker. So if you do this, then you'll gain different things. For example, if you win battles, you'll gain more money to get more blocks, so you'll be able to upgrade your castle as it goes on. You'll also gain new units and new items and things like that, etc. There's also a cool single player type mode. Now, many people were wondering if this was going to be purely multiplayer or single player, and I think they've included this in an amazing way. There's confirmation of a shorter single player campaign with sort of role playing involved in there as well. There will be a number of these added throughout the development of this game, and in completion of these little shorter campaigns, the players will be rewarded with more blocks to build their castles and forts and things, more units to go into battle, so stronger units and probably siege weaponry as well, and different items. I don't know what these items are going to be, but I guess we'll find out later in the future. This will make you stronger in the multiplayer sector, so the more of these single player mini campaigns you do, the better you'll be in the multiplayer modes. They're also planning to publish these twice a year after the release. They may increase that, they may decrease it depending on how popular these single player things are. So you've got two ways of advancing in the game. You can win a lot of multiplayer modes, or you can do these single player story campaigns. I think this is a great way of doing it. For this type of game, if they had one long single player thing, I don't think it would really work. But if they integrate the single player into the multiplayer, I think that is the perfect way of doing it. So that means if you don't want to play any single player at all, you can still gain things through the multiplayer to do better in the multiplayer games. But also, if people like single player, they can do these short single player missions that will be released year after year, so you get new ones, it will be always fresh, and you'll also get stuff that contribute to the multiplayer side of the game. I love the way that they're making this game, I love the progress, and if you guys like the gameplay that is on screen, I definitely recommend you guys go and check it out, because it is looking fantastic. But other than that, guys, I'll try and keep you updated on World of Castles, see what we can see in the future. I don't know when this is going to be released. I'll be talking to the developers as I have been in the past. I love these new dev diaries that they're bringing out. Keep it up, guys. This game is looking better and better every time. But what are your thoughts on the game? Do you think this is different enough to warrant a buy? Or do you think they need to work on it a little more? I'll definitely be bringing you more information in the future when it is released. But until then, I will see you in the next one.